coffee. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Coffee Milk Hour. It's Friday, and one of us has coffee milk in front of us.
I have coffee milk because I made it for myself.
I'm upstairs doing all the fucking legwork.
What?
I'm up here doing all the legwork.
Oh, Jerry, go set up the stuff. I'll be there in a minute.
For prepping the show.
Okay, so I come up here, I set up all the stuff, I go make myself some coffee milk.
And there's no
you
coffee
don't even
milk
shut
for me.
off the TV.
I wasn't watching the TV. It's not my fault. I wasn't watching it.
You were listening like you always do.
No, my door was shut. You don't fucking know anything.
Yeah, because then I go down there and I turn down the TV, and then you come out raging.
Has it been long enough that we can talk about Game of Thrones Season 6?
What happened in that season?
Are you serious?
That was a while ago now.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'll stab you.
Was that the one where they battled in the north up there with the wildlings?
Yeah.
At the Dreadfort?
The Dreadfort?
Or whatever it was?
The Dreadfort.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You're an idiot. Hey, everybody. We weren't here Wednesday. Hope you guys have had a good week. I'm a little off guard because we're, like, in between shows right now.
There wasn't a coffee minute on Thursday either.
That's not my fault. I was very busy. I was
sleeping.
Shut up, dude. I meditate for like 12 hours a day.
Well, you were sleeping in preparation for today's show.
Was I?
Yeah.
I've been sleeping a lot lately.
Yeah, like for a year.
Yeah, this has been a little, like I've been in a little mini hibernation.
You must be so well rested.
No, it's the exhaustion of the RNC and the DNC. It's broken me down.
Which is why we're all going to be going to Dunkin' Donuts shortly after the show to fuel up on some caffeine with a turbo shot.
They're not paying us, but we wouldn't mind if they did.
We wouldn't mind if they did. Also, they don't even need to pay us. I'll take a free coffee.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like, I'll take a free medium iced coffee every day we do the show.
Free medium iced caramel coffee, cream, no sugar with a turbo shot.
Think about that, Dunkin' Donuts. I think Gary Johnson's giving me the cold shoulder.
I think Gary Johnson was invited to the show, but he doesn't care about the middle class. He doesn't care about the amateurs.
That is not true.
Working for hours.
You were talking about a man. He stopped smoking pot so he could run for president.
What?
Yeah, that's an actual thing that happened. He was smoking pot.
Wow, he's so responsible.
He's absolutely qualified to be president.
I mean, Trump didn't quit his businesses, so...
Trump didn't quit being a piece of shit either. You'd think you'd need to be like, I'm gonna run for president. I should probably be more stately. Nah, fuck it. I'll just be a prick. You know?
So, let's get it out of the way. There were stark differences between the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention. And at first, I didn't think there would be, but there were.
Can we talk about the similarities first? Since
sure, let's do it.
Between. They both sucked, and they both lied to all of you.
I don't think that the DNC sucked.
The DNC can't suck when you have fucking Obama, dude. Like, he's a good speech giver. The man knows how to talk.
He's a good what?
He's a good speech giver.
He's a good speech giver.
Orator?
Orator.
Is that the word?
Yeah, that's a good job. Yep.
Yes!
You stepped it up there.
Fucking nailed it.
He's good at orating.
He's an excellent orator. And, so, I mean, like, that's cool. Then you've got, like, an attack dog like Tim Kaine, who, some Republicans were giving him shit for, like, a little pin that he was wearing.
In honor of his son?
Yeah. And they were completely out of basis there. But, I mean, it's the Democrats and the Republicans. They all suck.
However...
So, fuck it.
It could have been taken as... Okay, so Donald Trump in an interview said that... Oh, no, because the pin was North Carolina. It wasn't New Jersey. Okay, So earlier this week, Donald Trump said, and Tim Kaine hasn't done anything for New Jersey. And it's like, Tim Kaine was never the governor of New Jersey, Donald Trump.
He's like, Tim Kaine, who's done a terrible job in New Jersey. The first thing he did, asked for $4 billion extra, and it's like, no, he's never been affiliated with New Jersey. You should know these things.
He was probably mad at Cory Booker, the actual former governor of New Jersey, who came out very strongly against Donald Trump, and Trump immediately tweeted, I know more about Cory Booker than Cory knows about himself.
Which is a weird thing to say.
2 days later, Trump forgets who was the governor of New Jersey, even though his casinos are in New Jersey.
Does it surprise you, coming from a guy who's inviting Russia to hack America?
I don't want this to be a Donald Trump bash fest, but no, it doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me at all.
We can move on whenever you want.
I'm sorry. No, because he gives so many openings for this show.
Here's what bugged me. Look, I posted about this, and I've been getting a lot of heat from it from both the right and the left, because everybody hates Hillary too, and don't get me wrong, I don't blame you. But here's the thing. a lot of the counter argument has been like, how come we're talking about this and it's not national security in what she did? My argument is very simple. One, whether you believe them or not, the FBI found no indication that her emails were hacked by anybody foreign or potentially adversarial, right? So there's no risk of national security here. Your whole argument is we want to throw national security out of the window, let a known adversarial country hack into our systems to potentially find something that may or may not have breached national security. Basically, you're trying to say that you want to do the wrong thing that you says makes her not qualified for president to prove that you were right about her not being qualified for president.
And you're asking a foreign country to have a direct influence on one of our elections. Whether or not Hillary Clinton did or didn't do anything wrong is beside the point. The point is that we have systems in America that are supposed to investigate, see what's going on, make their best judgment, which apparently the FBI has done, and either keep the book open or close the book or whatever. We have processes in America for investigation and justice. So we do not call on Russia to hack into anything, because let me tell you something. If Donald Trump asks Russia to hack in and Putin's like, okay, when they get in, they're not just going to be like, we only looked at the emails, guys. That's all we looked at. We didn't look at anybody else. We didn't look at the NSA. We didn't go over there.
Yeah,
we
right?
Didn't go over there. We didn't do anything.
How naive are you?
It was open. We could have gone, but we were nice. We didn't go.
Oh, no, they're not nice. The Russian people are awesome. Love the Russian people. I hate your government. I'm sorry. But to be fair, I hate my government too. So I'll take that for what it's worth. I mean, people are cool. Government sucks.
I think we need to stop with that type of rhetoric. I don't hate my government. My government is a good government. It's written down in the Constitution and in the Declaration of Independence. There are clear guidelines. It's an excellent government. We need to get the bad people out of our government, but our government doesn't suck. And most people in our government, I don't think, suck. I think there are very few people that have a lot of power that is very overstated, and they need to be removed. And there are ways to do that, but it's our government, and it doesn't suck.
I can half agree with that statement. Term limits for Congress. 8 years and you're out.
Listen, if you listen to Obama, you'd have more hope today, okay?
I listened to Obama when he spoke the other day.
Right, you should still be just hung over on the amount of hope that he fed us.
I'm not. I had a very good discussion with my buddy Sean, and we came to the middle, which is another thing that we'll get into in a few minutes, but Sean, being not on the right or left like myself, we were able to compare and contrast points and talk about different things, and in the end come to an agreement on certain things, still disagree on other points of view, but at least respect why the other is viewing it like that. We were also able to fact check each other and come down to, like, you know, the absolute and bare truth, and that was really nice. So, like, I'm not so intoxicated by his speech anymore. It was still a really good speech, but actions speak louder than words.
Yes. But this is the thing with politics, right? Politics is someone's always going to agree with you, and someone's always going to disagree with you. That's politics. That's the nature of politics in this country. What bothers me is that the tone of the Democratic National Convention was overwhelmingly hopeful and positive. All the speakers that came out were speaking in hopeful tones.
Like 70%.
I would go higher. I'd say like 85. Just because when you are faced with an opponent like Donald Trump, you can only be so positive without going on the attack. But even the attacks were, I felt, grounded in reality, and they were a clear message of why, an argument why you should vote either against Trump or for Hillary in this election. Most of it was fact. Most of it was fact, or at least based in something. It was based in reality, let's say. I won't, because I haven't fact checked the whole thing, but I didn't hear anything absurd. There's no reason that the RNC could not have had a convention that also had the same type of message of hope.
Yes, there is.
Why?
Here's the thing. We've been under a Democratic president for 8 years. Even if the House and Senate is owned by the Republicans for the past 4 years, it doesn't change the fact that a Democrat, their opposition, has run the show for 8 years. In order to get your voters to believe strongly enough that everything is terrible, you have to paint a doom and gloom picture. Like, the Democrats have destroyed everything. Ignore the fact that we've owned the House and Senate for the past 4 years. Everything is their fault. Everything is terrible. This country is falling apart. Only the Republicans can fix it. And you have to, it's the only way you can go in that argument, because if you go out there and you're like, oh, America's, still doing pretty well, you're going to acknowledge that the Democrats have been doing well, and neither side is ever going to acknowledge that about the other side.
I'm going to call bullshit, though, because Barack Obama was faced with literally the same situation in 2008, and he ran a campaign of hope and change, and he brought people together. There was the largest voter turnout, I believe, in U.S. history.
Okay, that's fair.
And so now I will say what you're saying is traditional. That is the traditional response, at least in my lifetime, to 4 to 8 years of another party's, presidential control. But there's no reason the Republicans can't say, listen, the last 8 years have been very tough, but we've made progress. We've worked with President Obama, but we could have been further ahead. And spun it that way. We could be further ahead. We could be, if we had done these things with taxes, if we had brought these jobs back to America. And then there are ways to be a party of hope and optimism and still be the party that's fighting to regain the presidency without going down the road of America sucks. The military's a mess. People hate what the Democrats have done the last 8 years.
Fuck you, by the way, conservatives. The military is awesome right now. You know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, we're not getting paid as much, but let's be honest. Traditionally, a Democrat's not going to pay increased military as much as a conservative is.
Well, the thing with politics is a lot of it is about language, right? So if the budget of the military is in fact a disaster, and it may very well be, you need to clarify what you're talking about. And this is a lesson that Donald Trump is having a very difficult time learning. You can't say the military is a disaster. What you need to say is, I have a lot of respect for the men and women of the military. However, we need to be more responsible about our defense spending. That there's nothing wrong with a statement like that. It's not a blanket statement saying that the military sucks.
There's a problem with it because he's running under a Republican banner. All they would want to do is increase the defense budget. Libertarians might want to decrease the defense budget, but Republicans, no, dude, they're going to be all for bolstering it even more. We have way too much money going into our defense spending.
Way too much.
Way too much. The Republicans can say the military is a mess, but when they say they're going to fix it, what that means is we're going to bolster what we put into the budget, and that is stupid.
We should cut it. I think we should cut the defense spending by half.
That's ridiculous.
And no, it's not. When you look at what other countries spend on defense spending, and I know that we're the most powerful country.
We're the strongest fighting force in the world.
But if you look at our defense budget, if you eliminate all the excess and you make everything more efficient, we could operate as well, if not better, on half of the money in defense spending. And that doesn't mean that we're going to pay soldiers less. We're not. We're going to give them a raise. That's what I would do when I run in 2028. That's my plan.
Oh, shut up. Here's the thing. I'm going to wave this. I'm going to wave this marker stick that I've made at you. No, give it. Oh. I'm going to wave this pen at you angrily and explain to you why you're wrong. Cut the defense spending by a quarter off the bat immediately.
To start.
You don't need to argue with that with me at all. I agree. 25% drop in the budget. Boom, done. Then reevaluate and see what we're doing with the budget that we have then. 25% is still a steep amount of money.
Right.
Okay, so I think half is a little much. I think a quarter's fair, but it definitely needs to go down. Not some bullshit like 10%. It's not going to fucking change anything. It's not going to make any financial difference, inside the course of like 20 years.
Right.
It's fucking stupid. Give me back my marker fucking weapon.
No, I like all the markers now. They're mine.
I'm very frustrated today.
Anyway, I just feel like I don't see any reason both parties can't be parties of optimism and hope. That's all.
This is what I wanted to say. Would you at least accept an answer like this? When I was watching the RNC speeches, I felt like I needed to go stock up on supplies because the world was coming to an end.
Yeah.
When I was watching the DNC speeches, I felt like I needed to be careful about where I went at night because I was white and they were causing racial divides.
I didn't get that impression from the DNC at all.
I did.
I don't think.
A lot of people did.
Honestly,
I didn't specifically, but a little bit. Like at times, I was like, I feel like you're making like it was. I don't know,
what speaker specifically? Like Obama spoke about racial change, but in a good way, as did Hillary Clinton. Like which speakers were like racial divides in this country are making our streets less safe.
The RNC made it all about the country's coming to an end. The DNC made it all about like they kind of pushed the race issue a lot.
Is it not an issue?
It is an issue, but like there are more issues than that.
Is it not an issue that-
If you are battling the Republicans and your whole platform this election season is we're the logical thinkers, then you can't have your whole platform be based, or your whole event based on like one thing solely.
It's not.
You know what bugged me about both things?
What?
Neither one of them really talked about what they were going to do, and we have debates.
Did we
for
watch
that.
the same conventions?
We did. No.
Did we really?
Did you watch Trump's? Because he just said he was going to fix a lot of stuff. He did the same bullshit that he wanted to do.
Yeah, I know. I heard that.
I'm going to fix everything. I don't have any actual policies. They introduced policies at the DNC, but there's no guts to it yet. Now, you can find it. You can go and do the research and find it, but I want to hear it come out of your mouth. I did not watch Hillary's speech yet, so I'm...
Oh, well, then you missed the biggest comprehensive policy speech of the convention.
I need to watch that, and if I'm wrong, then Monday I will start the show by saying I was wrong and it was a very comprehensive and detailed speech.
Wait for Monday.
I'm okay with acknowledging when I'm wrong, but I don't know, both conventions kind of bugged me a lot. Also, there was some sort of dude doing demonic rituals outside the DNC.
That's cool. He has a right to do that because this is America. And we
also, I saw a funny
exercise
picture.
tolerance.
It said if you hop the fence at the DNC, you get put in jail, but if you hop the border, you get an invitation to the DNC.
I hate you.
It's funny, dude. It's funny. Like you open yourself up to attacks from the other side whenever you do something which could be seen as politically stupid. Politically stupid on the Democratic side. When you invited up all of those mothers of victims, of black victims, right? Talking about that agenda. But it was a mix of those who have been killed by police officers and those who have been killed in instances that weren't police force. You give the other side the chance to comment on that.
The mother of a slain Philadelphia police officer and loved ones of 2 other fallen officers addressed the DNC, so both sides were equally represented.
What are you talking? Wait, what did that just say?
It says convention hears from families of slain police officers.
I'm not saying it wasn't. Both sides weren't represented.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that when you had that group of women up there and you were talking about police violence, which is an issue in this country, as much as angst against police is an issue in this country, but when you put them all up there and then you have these outliers that weren't instances of police overuse of force, it gives the opposition an opportunity to comment on that. Like Sheriff David Clark came out that same night and was like, they have no place being up there. Trayvon Martin wasn't a police force issue. I forget the other woman's name, and I apologize for that.
Okay, but just because Trayvon Martin wasn't a police force issue...
What he was saying is that when you're up there with all of those people and you're discussing police force issues, those two being there don't make sense. It's like it creates a racial divide.
Why?
Because you're stirring up that stuff that has nothing to do with what you're actually talking about.
Okay, was Trayvon Martin not mowed down by George Zimmerman because one way or another he was black and George Zimmerman was scared?
Was George Zimmerman a cop?
No.
Okay.
But is Trayvon...
Then have him up there
how
at
is
a
it
difference...
different?
Because that's an act of racism and not an act of police use of force, which is what those women up there were discussing.
Can it be argued that a lot of the police use of force is also racially fueled?
It could, but they're two separate agendas for the most part.
I don't know.
Sometimes there's cops that go out there that do stupid things and dumb things because they're just fucking assholes. And race doesn't have anything to do with it.
What if we just say they were all mothers of young black men who were killed without need?
That's fine.
And they were representing that.
Adjust your platform accordingly.
I don't think anything in the DNC says we're only worried about black people being killed by policemen.
The women came on the stage and all of them spoke about police violence towards black communities.
Because they all experienced it, whether or not their son was killed.
2 of them didn't, and I'm not saying.
So they've never experienced it in their life.
I'm not saying that this is my opinion. Let me preface it with that. But what I'm saying is that they were 2 very different circumstances on that stage arguing for the same thing, and it gave the Republicans an opportunity to rip it apart, and they did.
If that's and I'm sorry, but if that's all you have to rip apart, then you don't have ground to stand on.
That's not all they had to rip apart. It was just one instance that I'm bringing up. And again, I'm not arguing it saying that the Republicans are right or the Democrats were wrong. I think they're all fucking retarded. We know this for a fact. Me personally, me Puffy, I don't like them. Any of them. At all. But I'm going to give oppositions both pro and con points. You know what I mean? by that same token, here, this will probably make you feel better for your little liberal heart. When everybody in the Republican side, like people I know personally in the media and everything, were saying, oh, they got all these Black Lives Matter people up there, and there's no police representation. The first thing I did was go to that article that you just pulled up on me and say, no, they absolutely talked about it. Obama himself talked about both of them. You're wrong. When you're wrong, you're wrong. That's what I see. That's what I see. That's how I feel. So that's what I do.
Don't you think it goes to show that if people are willing to say, oh, well, 7 out of the 9 of them have a right to be there, but because 2 of their sons weren't killed by cops, they shouldn't be there, doesn't that go
That's not what they were saying.
Then what is the argument?
What they were saying is that it was painting not painting a worse picture. They weren't saying that 2 out of the 9 that were there. Repeat what you just said.
Doesn't it go to show that when you're willing to, and I don't know the exact number, I think there were 9.
Just say 7 and a 9.
Doesn't it just go to show that if someone says, okay, 7 out of the 9 deserve to be up there, but because 2 of their sons were not killed by police, they shouldn't be up there? Even though their sons are dead.
Right, no, that's not what they were. That's not what they were arguing.
So
what they were saying is that when you add those 2 who weren't there as police force on top of the other people who were part of the police force, it's making it seem like everybody was killed by police force, which wasn't actually the case. The facts got lost in the message.
Did anyone on that stage ever say, did Trayvon Martin's mother ever say, my son was shot by a police officer?
No.
And don't we have an obligation as a public to just kind of do our own research and understand that that's not what she was saying?
Yes.
Like, just because
you have an obligation
might
when you're on a
interpret
stage,
it that way doesn't mean that you're right to have that opinion.
When you're on a stage that the entire country is tuning into, you have an obligation to make sure that you're spreading a message that has a solution at the end of it, not oversaturating a message for the sake of pushing a point.
I don't think it's oversaturation.
If they didn't have anything to do with, I personally would have been absolutely fine if all of the mothers of police shooting victims came up and had their speech, and then the other 2 mothers specifically came up and had their speech, because they're both very important topics that are very critical issues in this country, need to be talked about. But they were all up there together with a rhetoric that wasn't the same. They're different things. And I think that's the problem. When we start lumping all of this crap under one big bubble, we don't address the individual issues that cause the individual problems.
Isn't racism one big bubble?
You're arguing that every police murdering of an African-American man in this country is racially driven. That's not statistically proven. So you're changing the argument to say that police brutality against black men is obviously a race issue when maybe it's not.
If you can draw a correlation that more black men are killed by police officers and those black men are either unarmed or a white man in a similar situation would not have been shot, isn't it fair to say that those were driven by race issues? Not necessarily racism, but definitely influenced by race. You treat black people differently than you treat the white people.
It's a race issue, it's not racism.
I would argue that
and those are
racism.
Different lines. I would argue that it's not. I don't have numbers. I don't have the statistics in front of me. I can't make that argument right here on the spot because I didn't know we were going to talk about this because it's Friday Freestyle. But there's a difference. You know what I mean? Like, if any time a black cop shoots a white cop, is it automatically a race issue? No. The same way that it shouldn't be every time a white cop shoots a black cop, or a black cop shoots a black cop, or a white cop shoots a white cop. Like, we have to... If you're going to fix a problem, you have to find the source of the problem. I'm not saying that racism is not a huge problem in this country. It's a huge problem in this country, and that's why we fight for it daily to get rid of it. Because everybody needs to be equal, and I genuinely mean that. But, like, in order to come to solutions that are going to fix those problems, you can't just lump everything together. That's all I'm saying.
Would you be willing to say that all 9 of these mothers lost their sons in racially charged incidents?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so...
But their platform wasn't about racially charged incidents. Their platform was about police brutality to African Americans.
So none of them spoke about anything but police brutality?
No, they didn't. I'm sure racism got brought into it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they're different things. If you want to talk about racism, talk about racism. I will support you 100%. But, like if you're the mother of Trayvon Martin and you're see, I can't say that because I'm going to get fucking crucified. Never mind.
Why?
No, no. Because I'm a white male, and if I say it, I'm going to get ripped to shreds. Even though it's not a racial statement, it has nothing to do with race at all whatsoever. It's my personal opinion. We live in the age of the internet. I will literally be hunted down. So, I'm not going to say it.
Switching gears.
Fantastic.
Matt Damon is set to star in a movie called The Great Wall in 2017. It'll be the most expensive Chinese movie ever made.
Wait. Matt Damon starring in a Chinese movie?
Now, however, it is a fantasy movie set 1,000 years in the past, and there are things supposed to be like fantastic creatures, aka dragons, monsters, in this movie. However, it is a movie called The Great Wall, which takes place on the Great Wall in China, and Matt Damon is the lead actor.
Matt Damon is
Matt Damon is the star.
Is the star of a Chinese movie.
Yes.
About a Chinese wall in China.
Yes.
You know how people complain that whitewashing in Hollywood isn't a thing and people need to suck it up?
Yes.
I feel like these are the exact examples that prove them wrong.
Yes. This does seem to be that way. Now, I can see how you could get away with this because it's a fantasy movie.
Okay, sure.
It's supposedly a fantasy movie.
About a factual object that currently exists in the world.
It does exist. I'm pretty sure the Great Wall exists. I think you can see it from space.
I'm reading it right here, and it just says, in fact, save for Damon and a handful of brief shots of Pedro Pascal's character, the cast is overwhelmingly Asian, and yet the trailer makes it clear that Damon is the Matt star, despite the Chinese talent involved.
Right. And there's big Chinese talent involved in this movie.
Why would you not just get somebody who's Chinese to star in this movie?
It also has a Chinese director, the same guy that did House of Flying Daggers.
That doesn't matter.
I'm not saying that it matters. I'm just letting you know.
In a Chinese movie about a Chinese wall in China is white.
Yes.
I take back everything I just argued about for the past 20 minutes. Racism is a problem in America, and we need to get rid of white privilege.
Maybe they should have, but could Jackie Chan pull that off, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should give Jackie Chan the sword.
Jackie Chan's old, but he's not. You know what I mean? There's
I want to see Jackie Chan in a sword and shield movie.
A sword and shield movie?
A sword and shield movie, just like this one. Why? I want to see Jackie Chan out there in like armor, like swinging a sword around, like Boromir.
That's not how he works.
No, I'm not saying. Listen, I'm pretty sure that Sean Bean can't really swing a sword. It doesn't mean that Jackie Chan can't act like he can swing a sword. He can learn.
Let's do this. This is what I'm going to do.
We're doing something. There's research going on behind the scenes. I'm not totally sure what he's looking up.
I'm all of a sudden
Earlier today,
frustrated.
literally right before the show, Jordan was like, "In Puerto Rico, the shining star of the Mediterranean."
Yeah, I fucked that up.
I laughed really, really hard.
In my defense, I've been asleep for a very long time. Chow Yun-fat is a Chinese actor who's still alive, who could easily do this movie.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant is dead.
Oh, okay. So he might as well be
Jet Li
Chinese.
is another Chinese actor who could do this movie easily.
Right.
Who else?
Any other Asian? That really funny guy in all the Hangover movies or whatever.
I don't think that role fits him.
Just because it doesn't fit him doesn't mean that he's not more qualified than Matt Damon.
You've got Andy Lau, Tony Leung. There are plenty of Chinese actors that you could do from this. I just spent almost 5 minutes out of a 20-minute segment arguing both against racism and then arguing proper uses of it in a platform. To turn around and have this. Thanks for setting me up for failure, buddy.
Sorry.
Whitewashing in Hollywood is wrong. We need to stop.
Let me play devil's advocate. I'm going to play the devil's advocate here.
Good, because I'm tired of being the bad guy.
This movie says that it is the highest budget Chinese film ever. In order to recoup your budget, you need people to go see the movie in movie theaters.
Chow Yun-fat is a recognizable...
I have no clue who that is.
Are you serious? Bulletproof Monk?
No clue.
Really?
Never saw him.
This is a great movie. We should watch it later.
Never saw
I'll show you.
Monk.
You'll love Jet Li? Jet Li's a huge... Jackie Chan?
If Jet Li or Jackie Chan were in it, I think, yes, would they agree to do this movie?
It depends on what the movie's... All right, look, if the movie's got a Chinese director, a mostly Chinese cast, I imagine it can't be offensive.
It says it's a fantasy film set 1,000 years ago where Matt Damon will fight monsters on the Great Wall.
Jet Li and Jackie Chan both starred in the Drunken Monkey movie, all right? I don't think it wasn't a Drunken Monkey. It was some fantasy movie where they were like... it was fucking dumb. Right. And they both acknowledged that it was dumb. You got an opportunity to do something awesome. You can fucking do it. Don't give it to Matt Damon. You give it to like the whitest guy in Hollywood. That's a little extreme.
No, he might be the whitest.
He's like the most Boston guy in Hollywood.
I think Ben Affleck might be a little more white than Matt Damon.
But all right, they're basically interchangeable, which is the big joke.
They are not interchangeable. No fucking way.
Yes, they are.
No way. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are not interchangeable. They work very well together, but they are not the same.
Matt
Okay.
Damon would not have the success he has if Ben Affleck was not there to support his main role.
That's fine.
Good Will Hunting.
But Loki,
Without Ben Affleck, Matt
Loki
Damon
is not
suffers.
Bartleby in Dogma. They are not the same. Ben Affleck could not have pulled off the role of Loki,
I think Ben Affleck performed better.
but I think Matt Damon could have pulled off Bartleby.
No, I think Ben Affleck was the better actor in that movie.
He may have been in that movie,
Right.
but that doesn't mean they're interchangeable.
No, I'm saying, like, the people, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, acting skills aside, they're basically interchangeable.
I don't. What do you mean, acting skills aside?
Like, as people.
I don't know.
Both
What-
pretty.
how do you make
they're both
that call?
pretty fucking white guys with very bad Boston accents.
But what about the other guy?
Mark Wahlberg, who literally has a Boston accent in every movie.
Are they all interchangeable?
Yeah, honestly, you could switch them in any of their roles, and they're all basically doing the
Mark
same
Wahlberg
thing.
and Ben Affleck cannot pull off Jason Bourne.
Ben Affleck might be able to pull off Jason
God
Bourne.
damn it,
He
Jordan.
might be able to pull up Ben Affleck, top 50.
What?
Oh yeah,
Top
oh
50.
yeah, I'm bringing it back.
Ben Affleck,
For those of you
top
that have been
50?
listening to the show,
There is
you're
no
welcome.
way.
The segment
There is-
continues.
no, there
Ben
is no
Affleck,
way.
top 50.
No, he maybe
Jersey Girl? Chasing Amy?
Okay, don't say the
Mallrats?
Jersey Girl. No, those aren't good movies.
Those are amazing movies.
No, they're entertaining movies.
They're timeless
They're
cult
entertaining
classics.
movies. They're not good movies.
Dogma?
Good movie. Also entertaining.
Batman versus Superman.
I-
Number one movie of the year.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Neither have
I will say that in order for Matt Damon to get into the top 50 for me, he's going to have to do some really good stuff in the next 15 years.
Matt Damon? Matt Damon, top 50.
Not Matt Damon, Ben Affleck.
Yeah, no. Ben Affleck?
Matt Damon, top 50? No.
Ben Affleck, top 25.
Get out of here! Get out of here! You're infuriating me. This whole episode has been nothing but you infuriating the shit out of me.
Don't worry, I'm sure I infuriated a lot of viewers too. I don't know how
There's
I'm
no
gonna
viewers
recover.
because there's no camera, Jordan. We have listeners. Thank you, listeners.
Oh, excuse me. I'll buy you guys a pizza, all of you individually. Just, you know.
If we
we'll
didn't
coordinate
cut our
that.
toenails, what
No,
would
we're
happen?
not getting off of this topic. Whitewashing in Hollywood is a problem, and it needs to stop.
I don't know that it is.
I understand your argument. You presented the argument that, like, if you're going to have such a high budget on a film, you need people to come to that film.
I'm not
and if
saying-
you want to sell the tickets, you need a huge actor.
I'm not
right?
saying that there are not blatant cases where clearly white people should not have been cast. But when the whole thing happened with the Academy Awards, everyone was like, "Oh, Will Smith should have gotten a nomination." Blah blah blah. I saw albeit a Facebook post, and it was from a black writer, and he said, if you take the proportion of white people to black people in America, and by the way, and I'm not trying to bring this back to the whole Black Lives Matter thing, but this isn't an argument that Black Lives Matter uses and should use in their defense. But if you take the population, white people to black people in this country, there's about 15%. About 15% of the total population is black people. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for equal representation in Hollywood, that means that 15% of your actors nominated for the Academy Awards are going to be black.
Right.
So you can't expect there to be 10 black nominees and 10 white nominees.
First of all,
because it doesn't work that, and like what types of films came out that year. So there are going to be years where black people are underrepresented, and there are going to be years where black people are statistically overrepresented. Statistically.
Good job.
Statistically.
They're already underrepresented. I'm agreeing with you on this one, actually. The award shows and the nominees and, like, oh, there's too many white people actors and being nominated and not enough black. How many black people starred in movies that year? In major roles in major films that get brought to these award ceremonies.
That's great. But in order to be nominated, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to say this again and again and again, in order to be nominated for an award, you need to turn in a fucking great-ass performance. So just because there were a lot of black people in movies doesn't mean that you deserve to be nominated.
You're misunderstanding my argument. What I'm saying is that there are not nearly as many black actors or actresses in movie roles throughout a year as there are white. So when you get to the award ceremonies, there's already going to be an overabundance of white nominations.
Or statistically normal, because they should outnumber black
statistically
85
normal,
to 15.
but it looks overwhelming when you watch it. You're like, wow, that's a lot of white nominees. But then you got to pull up the numbers, and people don't care about numbers. They care about what they see with their eyes. That's one of the biggest problems with this country. We don't look at the numbers.
Gotta look at the numbers.
We had that argument when we did the police-involved shootings episode.
Right.
Because everybody can say, well, white people get killed just as much as black people, but that's not actually true
because
when
there's
double
less
your
black
representation in the country is getting shot.
Right.
That's a problem with black guys getting shot in America. Like, statistics solve every problem, and it's fucking annoying to me that people don't use them enough.
What if the whole problem with America is that, like, none of us were paying attention in 5th grade when they were going over proportion and probability?
I paid attention. I think that was one of the last classes
Like,
I
if
paid
people
attention
just
to.
understood, like, proportion, proportionately, no, this doesn't make sense. Or proportionately, yes, this does make sense. Like, it looks weird, but when I look at, the proportion, it's where it should be. Oh, look at that. Math. But a lot of people in this country don't believe in math and science, Jordan.
Yeah, that's strange to me, and I'm not
and let me tell you, if there was a summer to show that global warming existed, it's this one. Global warming is campaigning hard right now to prove that it exists. It wants to be loved.
Do you know what
it just wants to be acknowledged, people. And we had a heat index here the other day of 123 in Virginia. Do
you know what the problem is with proving global warming science to people who don't believe it?
That we haven't been alive long enough?
No, because the overwhelming majority of, well, not overwhelming majority, a good portion of the people who say that global warming is real are the same people that say that vaccinations cause autism.
That's bogus.
I'm not kidding.
No. That's
kidding. Look at the numbers.
99% of scientists say global warming agrees, but 99% of scientists do not say that vaccines cause autism.
I'm not saying the scientists. I'm saying the people who support the science of climate change are the same people who support anti-vaxxing.
I think
you should look it up. The numbers are actually a little bit staggering because there is a correlation. People who support climate change are more likely to believe that vaccinations cause autism than people who don't support climate change. So the whole argument from the other side is, how am I going to trust you on the weather when you think all of these shots keeping your baby healthy are actually hurting
I'm going to go ahead and say that I really believe that that's one of those stats that's been spun to call into question the sanity of people, mainly hippies, on the left. but I think that's been blown way out of proportion.
Do we have a problem with hippies? Because I feel like hippies... So, like, hippies are mostly liberal. That's just a fact of life,
yes,
right?
Fact of life.
If you talk about a political
there are no conservative hippies.
Right, there really aren't any conservative
They're
hippies.
called warmongers.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
I mean, that would be the opposite of a hippie, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
So, hippies are typically liberals, and hippies are the ones that are saying, like, oh, how about anarchy? How about anti-vaxxing? How about, like, all of these... Frankly, I'm going to say
No.
Dumb things.
I don't think hippies say, how about anarchy? Hippies don't want any anarchy. They just want to chill, man.
No, the new defined version of anarchy.
Oh, the hipsters.
Not a state of disorder from a lack of government, but from a state of peace from everyone governing themselves. That's actually a thing.
That's a fucking pipe dream.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I'm saying. Humanity will never, ever exist in this world without some form of government above it. If you think it's possible, I admire your optimism, but that's really all I see.
But not even Obama's pushing that shit.
It's not going to happen. But anyway, my point is, hippies are liberals. Hippies are associated with liberals, I would say.
Thank you. I'm not a hippie.
You're kind of a hippie. But anyway, hippies say vaccines are bad.
Eat meat.
For the most part. Hippies eat meat?
Oh, okay. They did.
Yeah, you've got this weird idea of what hippies are. So, like, when you're trying to sit there in Congress and say, hey, global warming's a thing, you have two different types of people. You have the people who are agreeing with you, who are saying, yeah, and shots for your baby are bad, man. Don't give it to him.
Yeah, good thing that guy's not in Congress.
And then you've got the guy storming through the doors with a snowball in his hand saying, explain this! If global warming is real, explain this! Which is an actual thing that happened.
That is an actual thing that happened.
I can't believe that.
But, if you want to prove the point, I guess that's one way to try. And then everyone's looking at you like, that's normal?
He just brought a snowball in. Like, yeah, global warming exists. It's fucking hot, man.
Yeah, it's very...
Like, the Earth is still going through its seasonal changes, but someday, that's not going to be the case.
Someday.
There will no longer be a winter.
Virginia's already becoming a tropical rainforest. I can feel it.
I mean, as a person who loves winter, like, I'm not asking you to believe in global warming. I'm asking you to believe that one day winter could not be here from how hot it is, and I need that.
You know who's really going to benefit from this? Canada.
Why Canada?
They're just going to get a little bit warmer. And their climate is going to become like our climate is right now.
Yeah, and then 50
we're
years
all
down the
gonna
line,
wanna
they're going
move
to
to
be upset.
Canada.
I'm not moving to Canada.
They're going to have
do it.
nicer weather.
Canada was literally... Oh, Canada's tap water is held to a higher health standard than bottled water. I learned that last night.
That's interesting.
Also, New York's tap water, or New York City's tap water, was just recognized as the best tap water in the region.
What with the Mid-Atlantic or the Northeast?
The Northeast.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Good for them.
New York City. Oh, dear.
The fax machine is ringing.
Fax machine ringing.
Dude, I bet you Verizon calls me in like 2 seconds.
Can I turn this off?
You can try to turn it off.
Ignore.
So,
Do a show.
This has been a rather interesting episode of the Friday Freestyles. We spent the first 30 minutes having an intense debate over many things.
I'm not going to sit here and try to explain to anybody that I'm not racist, because that usually makes you sound like a racist. Just understand that there's a difference between being a racist and having an objective conversation. That's all. That's the only thing I'm going to say to defend
Isn't
myself.
that something that a racist might
God
say?
fucking damn it, Jerry. Oh, man. Monday's
Anyway.
episode, what are we going to talk about? We got, we're not talking about...
I think we should talk about eternal life.
I'm not talking about eternal
I'm
life.
leaving eternal life on that board.
That's fine. It's
until
going to
we
be there
talk
for a long
about it.
time. Here, I'm going to give it a little star just so you know that I'm never, ever...
We need a yellow marker so we can make yellow stars.
We can talk about... I'm not talking about the email scandal, man.
Oh, we're not going to talk about the email
It's
scandal
over.
now.
Look, all right. Yesterday was supposed to be the day that Julian Assange released something that guaranteed an indictment for Hillary Clinton.
He just overslept.
Fucking nothing.
He just
Okay?
overslept.
It's hype. These people are trying to influence you to change the outcome of one of our longest running democratic processes in the history of our country.
World.
We're 200 years old.
In the history of the world.
We're 200 years old compared to the world.
Okay, one of the longest democratic processes in the history of the world.
Okay, yeah, that's actually fair. Yeah, in the history of the world...
How is it that me just
Shut up.
repeating
I don't
myself
know.
3 times makes you acknowledge what I'm saying?
Most of the time, I just ignore you the first few times.
I know. Now I know why women just keep on saying the same thing over and over and over again to men until it works.
Oh, I never
Because
listen.
it just works on you.
I never listen the first time. You have to keep repeating it. But then I usually get like Crystal likes to give me this shit where she's like, I've already told you this. And I'm like, yeah, but my memory's garbage. Which is true.
And one cannot be faulted for their memory.
Yeah, that's not
because
fair.
it is their memory.
Also, memory is the
As
key.
defective as it may be.
Yeah, I have a pretty defective memory.
You have a defective memory.
I have a defective memory.
I will side with you just so you can win those arguments in the future.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. I got your
Appreciate
back.
that. We're gonna go get Dunkin' Donuts now, guys.
Racist.
Wow. That was such...
Let it be known from my experience that Jordan is definitely not the most racist person I know.
I am not the most racist person you
You're
know.
definitely not the most racist person.
I'm not racist at
I
all.
know.
What are you trying to say? I feel like you're trying to say something hidden here.
Jordan typically isn't a racist. He's only racist when he doesn't understand he's being racist. He's really kind of a microcosm for all America.
I'm a microcosm for all humanity.
That has been the Friday Freestyle.
I believe
We're
in
glad
life
to
for
bring you
everybody,
these enlightening
except for you,
conversations.
Jerry, because I hate you.
I don't listen to you when you fucking murmur. I just don't. We're going to get coffee. That is what we are doing. Then we're going to enjoy our weekend. And then we're going to come back strong on Monday with an episode that we've planned out because all that shit on the board is apparently terrible. So send us ideas for shows.
No, we got ideas for shows.
We're talking about the Titanic.
What?
Yup.
No, we're not talking. No, we're not having like a crazy one of your crazy uncle conspiracy theories.
What the hell? There's not even a show on TV about the Titanic yet.
No, I'm talking about
like
your
ancient
uncle,
aliens to the
like
Titanic.
your literal uncle.
Oh, my Uncle Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Titanic's not the Titanic. It's actually the other one. The
Lusitania? I don't know.
You
I don't
didn't
know.
hear that whole conspiracy?
Ships have names.
Can we get him on the show?
Can we not get him on the
Can we please
no,
get him on the
I
show?
will flip my desk. Do you see the side of this desk? I will flip it.
Guys, we're gonna end on this note. Jerry's Uncle Pat could be the most entertaining man to talk to, and I want to get him on the show. I'm gonna call Uncle Bob and see if he can get me in touch with Uncle Pat.
No.
We're gonna invite him down. He's gonna come on the show and he's gonna give us.
I won't be here for that
It's gonna be the Coffee Milk Storytime edition.
Mikey, you're gonna come take my spot on that episode. I can't do it.
All right, everybody. We'll see you Monday.